I was just so shocked that there was like a Vietnamese community there, and that was so fascinating to me to have like pho in Paris and have it taste just as good and a banh mi there too. My mind was like completely blown away because, my background being from like Georgia, like I never even knew that there were like communities in other countries, and that stayed with me every time. So every time I would go to Paris, I would go to Wang, and it felt like I was, at home in a foreign place,
Yeah.
because I didn't speak French, and not a lot of people, spoke English. And then here I am able to communicate in like Vietnamese to,
Mhm.
another Vietnamese person. And so that I, that was kind of when you're feeling like homesick,
Yeah.
So
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You go to Paris for the first time, right? And you really don't know the sort of the historical context of what Vietnamese people are doing there, or whenever they got there, that there was even a community. But what did you do? Like open up a restaurant guidebook, or how did you discover that there was this community in Paris?
it, I was just feeling homesick, and I just looked, on Yelp for like pho places, just out of like, no, let's see if there's like Vietnamese food here. And because I mean, I knew that there, because of our history, French colonialism and everything, that there is a history. And but I so I knew that there was a connection. And then it wasn't until I got to Paris and I was like, oh, there's a whole like district there. And that was really eye-opening.
Yeah, I have been talking to several older members of our Vietnamese community who've been in Paris since the 50s. They left
That's
as
amazing.
young men, like way before the war. And I've interviewed several of these men, and it is mind blowing to think that even before my parents were born, they had relationships
Mhm.
with, Vietnam and France had, they were sending military personnel back to France to train in the Navy, in the Army, in the
Mhm.
military, and then they would bring them and post them back in Vietnam. And it would just be a completely French thing, you know?
Yeah.
And this existed for a long time. And obviously it led to, a lot of, conflicts that produces what was the modern, Vietnam War. But yeah, in the 50s, it was a big group of Vietnamese students that went to France, and some of them never left. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and there's so many of those stories and more, and I want to learn more about those, and I can't wait until like COVID is over so that we can like start traveling again.
yeah, yeah. What inspired you to sort of um, hone in on the food and not some other aspect of the Vietnamese French experience?
Like I've always been a foodie growing up, even like when I was, a little girl in like South Georgia. Like I would look, at PBS, and I would watch the travel and food channels. And, this was before like being a foodie was like a cool thing. And I was fascinated with like truffles and caviar. And so it was because, I being a lifelong foodie, and one of the people that I admired the most was Anthony Bourdain, and the way that he told stories through food. And yeah, all of that, like I knew the story that I wanted to tell was through food, because even in, Vietnamese culture, like food is such a big thing, and it's around food that people really like open up and let their guard down. And yeah, so that's why I felt like this is, the best way to tell these stories.